ask raven. The wise one listens and answers with song, from cedar shadows where old truths belong.
I watched the vessel cleave the foam, an ex-Navy hull that claimed no throne, its bridge supreme by rank alone, for power shifts where men must roam. 3 times a day the bell would ring, and down the narrow steel way swing the weary hands of those who bring their hunger like an offering. In that hot galley, thick with steam, where knives flashed bright and kettles gleamed, another order moved unseen, not stitched in braid, but crowned by cuisine. For he who feeds the crew at sea commands a quiet monarchy, not by decree, not by degree, but by the stomach's loyalty. The budget full, the ledger loose, the galley stocked with meat and juice, and what remained from careful use was meant for all, in theory, truce. Yet if the plates were piled high, and steaks were thick, and spirits dry, a blind-eyed turn would oft comply, that surplus silver wander by. Do not offend the cook, they'd say, he might depart before midday, and take the purse of funds away, where morale's last defenses lay. Among those sovereigns of the stove, there stood one hardened, sun-browned roved, from desert sands where heat had drove, patience thin his youth once wove. French Foreign Legion marked his name. He spoke of Africa's furnace flame, of discipline without a claim, of trials endured in duty's name. He told how once by fingertip he hung in silence iron grip, while officers with a measured lip observed the strength they sought to test and equip. The sand, the heat, the endless glare, the monotone of ordered air, the strain of rigid structure there, of rank enforced beyond repair. Yet here he stood with apron tied, a wineglass near his cutting side, or rum concealed where steam could hide. He drank but never lost his stride. His sauces silk, his timing keen, his knife work sharp, his kitchen clean. Other ships would intervene to trade for him. He ruled cuisine. He knew his worth. He knew his sway. He fed the bridge 3 times a day. And if the captain looked away at budget lines and slipped astray, it was because no one desired the galley crown to be retired. For cooks like him were much admired, and far too valuable to be dismissed or tired. But I have seen this pattern grow, where hardship plants a seed below. Authority once dealt a blow may seek its balance in its flow. He mistrusted officers, he said, not loud, but something in him spread. When desert memories filled his head, instead of decks beneath his tread. It did not sound like tales long past. It felt as though the sand still cast its grit across his lungs so fast. He spoke from then, not from the last. So the galley became crowned, the ladle scepter laid down. The bridge above might hold renown, but morale was ruled from the lower down. There were other cooks of lesser art, who drank by noon and lost their part. Cocktails mixed before the start, before the watch had left its chart. A captain flushed with early cheer, a cook who poured and lingered near, and steel at 17 knots would veer, while steadier hands kept course sincere. I watched from heights where masts cut sky, where gulls would circle, drifting by, and saw how power does not lie in rank but need to satisfy. Then came the man who wore his past like naval brass too tightly cast, uniform for memory fast, as though the war had never passed. He marched as though the cannery were fleet command authority, yet paper spoke differently, and union sighed in clarity. 6 hours on and 6 to rest, the contract plain, terms expressed. No officer could override when ink and brotherhood supplied, testified. He entered where he should not tread, a sleeping watch, a bunk, a bed, and ordered decks be swapped instead, of honoring what the ledger said. Steel doors do not respond so well to eagle's misremembered spell, nor does a crewman bound by swell accept a borrowed cadence's bell. The laughter filled the room. The cannery walls replaced the gloom, a formal charge in borrowed plume, for we were not empires assumed or resumed, not country served, but fish and trade, not battle lines, but nets were laid. Authority must fit its grade, or be by circumstance remade. And yet the tale returns once more to desert heat and galley floor. For memory walks through every door and seeks a steadier ground once more. The legion cook who sipped his wine was not unsteady nor malign, but something in his gaze would shine when past and present intertwine. Power at sea is seldom pure. It is adaptive. It endures. Where hunger lives, control matures, and rank alone cannot secure. Remember this, you would not steer. The loudest voice is not to fear, but silent leverage held near, the one who feeds the crew each year. For desert memories fade from sight, yet linger in galley's light. And men once shaped by rigid command, they seek their balance where they stand. For this tale finds a chord in you, a power war or power due, of officers both firm and true, then mark it well. The sea keeps too. Keep ghost boat afloat, drop a coin in the treasure chest. The link awaits quiet in the about section's nest. Got a sea story buried deep? Throw us a line at ghostboatadventures@gmail.com.
What you forget, Raven remembers. Through fire and embers, Raven remembers. Nevermore, nevermore, nevermore.